guys, welcome back to Turntable Guy. On the bench today we have a CD player. We have an Emerson. This is a CD175RA. I searched online. Nothing's coming up under 175RA, but it is coming up under 175R. And there is no PDF or service manual for this thing. But from what I have been able to research, this is a Hitachi unit, and it is called a Hitachi DA500 or DA501. And that seems to be the OEM on this CD player. Now, the problem is, as you saw in the introduction there, is when you put a disc in, it does nothing. And I don't even see the laser trying to focus. So I picked this up at a thrift store. I eyed this CD player because I like old CD players. I eyed this CD player a couple weeks ago, and it was listed for $15.49. So I picked it up. I went back to the CD section, picked up a disc, went back to the testing section, put it in, no read. I'm like, nah, screw this. If it's not reading, that's never a good sign. I went back today, 2 weeks later, there it is still sitting on the shelf for $15.49. Nobody in their right mind. I'm sure many people have tried it because it's moved around. You can see that it's moved from where I put it back. I'm sure a lot of people tried to get it to read, and again, no reading. So I picked it up. I went to the main desk area, and I asked the lady, I said, hey, this CD player doesn't read. Can you do anything on price? And she said, yeah, here, just give it to me. She goes, if you want it for parts or something. She said, no refunds. And so she gave it to me for $8. So for $8, what the hell? But one thing I am noticing, and I'll link this video in the description, I did a Scott CD player not too long ago. And this is almost identical to that unit. There's even the support post here, which I remember in the video, it fell out when I unscrewed the faceplate. And I was asking people, did you see where that went? And everybody's like, well, it's a support rod. Here's that same support rod. Here's the same transport. I don't remember if the board's the same or not, but this is almost identical to that Scott. And that Scott was made by Hitachi. So anyway, we're going to just do a couple things here. The first thing we're going to try doing is cleaning the laser. So let's do the basics first. Let's clean the laser. I like to use a little bit of, it's like diluted window cleaner. And I'm just going to give that laser a quick cleaning. Doesn't look like it was dirty, but we'll try it. Sillier things have happened. No good. Next thing we're going to do is I'm going to bring you down, and we're going to see if the laser actually shoots off any light here. And I don't think I saw anything. But then again, I don't know if this camera is going to pick it up or not. So I might be in for a dud here. I don't know. But we'll try to have a peek and see if there's something we can find. And if so, maybe we can save this unit. All right, so it's unplugged. What we'll do first is we'll remove the faceplate and get the transport out. The power switch is screwed to the faceplate here. I'm just going to take that off first. Maybe we don't have to remove the faceplate. That would be good. protection from high voltage, I guess. All right, there we go. Let's get that power switch out of the way. And now we can access the screws for the transport. And here is the plugs for the transport. This looks extremely familiar as well. That's a toughie. Okay. And I remember last time when I did that Scott, we had a lot of difficulty removing the tray from the unit. And it was a little clasp that we had to push down, but I'm pretty sure I remember now where that thing was. 3 big bolts here. Now, the other question is, do I have to remove the drawer face? A lot of times you do. No, on this one you do not. And there is that same big spring. Yeah, this is identical to that Scott. So depending which unit you like better, I could use this as a parts unit. Let's put these springs aside. Oh, is that a problem here? Is this motor seized? Here's our switch. It tells it that it's loaded. And the belt is working good on this one. I can't really complain about it. I'm going to say that's probably laser power there. We're not going to touch that. If we put a few volts across this motor, I just want to see if if we can get the motor to spin. I really need to get myself a bench power supply. I don't use it. I wouldn't use it a lot in turntable work, but I'm thinking, you know, it's probably time. You bugger. Using batteries is kind of silly. So the motor's kind of turning. Not great though. Maybe we need to go the other way. Doesn't seem to be enough torque. Oh, my battery just sucks. Oh, there we go. That battery sucks. Okay, well the motor's working. So what I want to see is, you know, will it go back? And that'll give us an opportunity to clean the rails as well, but they don't seem dirty at all. So if we just lay this here, kind of like that, and just plug everything back in. And very careful of that power switch. plug it back in, will the motor move back? Move the laser back. Saw the laser go down that time. It's not moving back though. Just put a disc in here. I wonder if we have a limit switch problem here. This should come back to the home position, and it's not. That's telling me it could be a limit switch. Okay. Put our tray back in here. Unplug it. And let's work a little bit on the transport. All right, so we have a switch here. We have switches here. Zoom in a little bit. Let's get our glasses. There's a little switch here. I'm thinking that's a limit switch. When it comes back, it tells the motor to shut off. There has to be a switch that tells us when it's loaded. And it has to be this one. That's the only one I can think of. That's loaded. Maybe we do need a belt. It just seems like it's not going anymore. It just needs that extra torque. This is the exact same mechanism from that Scott. As I look at it, it's identical. It's just the torque it needs to close this, activate that limit switch, but I'm not 100% sure if it's this or not. Okay, so let's check if we've got continuity here. Let's put it into beat mode here. Just close this. Okay, that's good. And check this one here. Now, why is that showing as short? No, it's not. That should not be short. Something funny going on with this switch. Okay, so fully open. Those two should be shorted now. The gray and white wire. And they're not. That's very odd. Now they should be open. I'm going to clean these contacts a little bit. Just a little bit of non-residue cleaner here. Just going to spray. And I'm going to just lightly sand them. Try that. That's any better. Could have some dirty contacts. All right, let's see now. Okay, short. Should be open now. Open. Let's close this drawer. Move it in all the way. Short. Okay. Let's see if that did anything. We'll bring our player back up. Zoom out. Just lay this inside again. Just make sure nothing's shorting out. Put your cables back in. All right. Careful of our power switch here. It is live. Plug it in. And let's see what happens. I see the laser getting sucked down. But this is still not moving in. All right. All right, we're going to unplug. And we'll continue on. So we're just going to continue on checking things. So we've cleaned that limit switch. I am going to clean this switch as well. So we'll hit that with a little deox. Okay. And I'm going to lubricate our motors. Actually, I want to check all the motors. What's the date on this thing? 89 maybe? No, it can't be 89. It's got to be older than that. We know the tray motor works. We don't know if the spindle motor works. Let me just work this switch a little bit while we're here. Nice. Okay, we'll give that a little drop of oil. On the top bearing of the motor here. And we'll just operate it a few times. Okay, I think that's good. Now, spindle motor. To remove this clamp, remember it was a little difficult because there's this really heavy-duty spring here. You had to bend these back and be very careful about that lower spring. Like that. Pull that out as well. We're going to remove the tray. Okay. So the tray comes out like this. There's a little hook right here. And you just want to get a screwdriver and get that out of the way. There we go. There's your tray. There's very little in here. There's our spindle motor. We're going to give that a drop of oil. Honestly, don't think it's anything to do with that, but it's spinning fine. Sink in a little bit, and we're just going to apply a little bit of power to it and see if it's turning. It is spinning. Okay, so we've confirmed that all our motors are okay. Now, what remains is the laser, and that could be our problem. Trying to see if there's any capacitors on that board, but I don't see any. It's definitely not the rails. It's not this switch. Pretty sure it's got nothing to do with this limit switch. But again, that limit switch is in now. So maybe it wasn't touching it before. Okay, let's put our tray back on. It's back in the home position now. And we'll just slide this back in. Back into position like that. We're in the home position. This is closed. All the way in. And then that is where the limit switch is closed. I haven't not thought about the belt yet, and that is always something you need to look into when you're dealing with something like this. Okay, let's put our clamp back on. That requires this spring. It needs to be compressed. And then you can put the clamp back in. Without hopefully breaking these plastic pieces. And it's not in where it needs to be. It has to go around this little nub like that. Okay. All right, let's put it back in the player one more time. Rubber feet are starting to fall off. And we will zoom out. Plug our cables back in. And what I think I'm going to do here, I'm going to try to get this disc in here like this, because the limit switch is in. Both switches are in. So if the belt's not powerful enough to close the second switch, maybe that's our problem. Let's see what happens here when I turn it on. So we know both switches are closed. Hey, look at that. It's spinning. And it says 12 tracks. Is it playing? I don't know if it's playing because it's flashing. Well, it's definitely not playing. But that's an improvement. That's exciting. Ooh, gotta watch out for that bloody AC power over here. Don't be dumb like me. Be careful when you've got AC power like that. Oh, it is playing. It is playing. Is it? Yes, it is. Hang on. Audio. Let's get some audio. So it looks like we have a limit switch problem. And I think it's due to a belt. What else, eh? It's always a belt with these bloody things. Let's see here. Okay. Just gonna turn this down. There you go. We've got sound. Let's skip here. Here, let me bring you down. Hang on. Track skip. Ooh, is it slow and brutal. Yeah, it's not reading correctly. Oh, there it goes. It only took an hour to find the song. Trying to reach the volume button with my foot. So there you go. Track 2 index. It is playing. Stop. Play. Oh, nothing this time. Nothing this time. Yeah, she's sick. Let's try opening and closing. Nope. All right, so I'm going to keep playing with this thing. And I'll let you know how I make out. I'm going to continue to clean some things. And I might, I'm going to have a look at the service manual. There are some adjustments on here. They're just listed as VR. So I'm not 100% sure what they do yet. But there's got to be some focusing. One of these has got to be focused. So we're going to mess with that a little bit. I'm going to mark these where they're sitting on the board. And I'll let you know what happens. So I get the feeling that something's not moving correctly here. Maybe the rails are dirty. Maybe I'm going to give them a clean. I honestly don't think that the mechanism is moving back to the correct spot. So I'll be right back. So I'm not satisfied with this belt at all. It looked kind of loosey-goosey. It's a real pain in the butt to put in. Got to remove all the gears and stuff for the loading mechanism, and then you got to kind of remember where they go back. But we're going to clean these pulleys with alcohol. We're going to clean anywhere where there's some. The grease is not bad. I'm going to say that. We're going to clean anyway and reapply some fresh grease. And I'm going to see if I have any belts in my stash to replace this. I shall return. I believe I have found the problem. This is the laser transport gear. Drives off the laser transport motor, which has a worm gear. And this is completely seized on this post. The grease has turned to glue. You can see it. There is no lubrication left. That's why when I was putting power to that motor, it seemed to be struggling so much. Like, this is impossible to turn on this post, just the way it is. And the further you go down, the less it wants to turn. It's really, really bad. That's why the laser was taking so long for it to find tracks, because this motor doesn't have enough power to turn this gear, to turn the sled, to make the sled go back and forth. So the sled was never coming forward and touching the actuator switch here that would tell it that everything's loaded and ready to go and that the laser's in the home position, because the laser would not move to the home position because the motor didn't have enough torque to clean this, or to move this gear, to move the laser sled focus. So I'm going to clean this completely, put a little bit of fresh grease there, and I think we've solved our problem. I think we're going to be playing CDs in no time. I'll be right back. Okay, we're back up top here. I have cleaned that gear and I've reassembled the transport. Plugged it back in the board, but I have not turned it on yet. So what we're looking for here is when I turn the CD player on, we want to see that the laser is going back to the home position. Like I said, I don't think it was going back because that gear was frozen solid and the motor just could not pull it. And that's why it was skipping and not seeking tracks. So with my open and exposed 120 volt switch here, I'm going to turn this on and hopefully we'll see some action. Perfect. That's exactly what we want to see. All right, let's see if we're reading now. Good, I put the disc tray back correctly. Going in. We're spinning. We're stopping this time. I'm going to press play. See how long it takes to spin up this time. Pretty quick. Awesome. All right, so I'm gonna skip ahead here. That's track 1. I'm gonna go to track 5 or 6. Perfect.
Way over.
CD player is fixed. Fantastic. All right, so now I can get around to cleaning it. Give it a nice, I can take the faceplate off, remove all the controls, give it a nice cleaning, and I'm going to do that off camera, obviously. I just wanted you to see that that's the repair. It was basically that gear. There were 2 limit switches there. One for the door that tells the CD player that the tray is completely closed. And the other one is for the laser. And it tells it that the laser is in the home position. And because that main gear was not spinning correctly, the laser could not move back into the home position. So, you know, I do a lot of turntable repairs and I talk about sticky grease. Once again, grease. It wasn't capacitors. It wasn't components. It was not the laser. It was nothing electronic. It was mechanical in nature. And I find that a lot with old electronics. Mechanical failure due to lubrication. So I'm going to, like I mentioned, I'm going to give this thing a cleaning. And when I come back from the cleaning, we'll give this thing a proper workout and we'll get down low. We can see the controls. Be right back. Hey, welcome back. We're all disassembled here. I wanted to show you something before I go any further. I took the board outside and I blew it out with some compressed air. And I noticed this, which I wasn't really paying attention here. Something that you should always service when you're doing electronics. That glob of yellow kind of brown stuff there is glue. And you can see that this one's starting to get a little crusty. Now, why they applied glue here, I have no clue, unless they wanted to keep the audio jacks from flexing too much, because they can come loose at the solder connections. You get a cold solder joint underneath when you're constantly pulling and unplugging your RCA cables. So maybe that's why they inserted some glue there. So anyway, I'm going to chip that off before I put everything back together, because we definitely don't want that glue going conductive, and it would short out the output signal for the audio. So I shall return. This is how serious I am about getting rid of glue. I have removed the board from the case altogether, and I've desoldered the RCA jacks as well, because they were just caked in this stuff. And there you go. Now, the yellow part here is still kind of flexible, but the brown part is starting to get crusty. And when it gets crusty, it gets conductive. And you can see how it had buried probably 3 resistors down here. I don't see any corrosion yet, but it's not long before these resistors, a transistor over here has a little bit underneath. You have to dig that out. I'm going to clean the board with alcohol too. It's very important to get this stuff out. Okay, we've got the lights off here. I just want to show you. When we turn it on, I'm going to show you the laser, that there's nothing wrong with it. Cover your eyes. So you can see how it's trying to focus. So there's nothing wrong with the laser. Let's turn our lights back on here. Okay, and have a look at our front panel, all completed. I gave this a wash in the sink, removed all the buttons, cleaned those. I cleaned the actual switches The button switches that are behind these buttons here, clean those with a little bit of contact cleaner. And I polished the faceplate with a little bit of plastic polish, gave this a nice cleaning, cleaned the inside of the screen, gave that a nice cleaning. So it is looking great. Looking inside at the board, our nasty glue has been removed. So we'll have no shorting, hopefully. I took this outside, I gave it a compressed air shot, and most importantly, our transport. The rails have got a very, very light dab of oil on them. Some people don't like oil. I really don't like putting grease on it. I don't have any moly to put on there, so I just put a little dab of light, like sewing machine oil, like one drop, and then I run the laser back and forth a couple times just to spread it to make sure it's working properly. All right, so the moment of truth. Let's turn this thing on. So before, it would just flash 000 all the time. New belt for the tray. So nice and smooth operation. And we'll just see it read, how fast it reads. That's pretty quick. It's not a electromagnetic laser sled. It's just driven by a worm gear, so that's not bad. Let's watch the tray go in here. Spin up, read the table of contents, and ready to go. Look how fast it's reading too, eh? Okay, we're going to scoot all the way to the last track. Then we're going to eject, and we're going to watch the laser sled go back. All the way up. Open. And you can see our laser sled is moving beautifully now. All right. That's it. That's the Emerson CD 175RA. Online, it just says 175R. And again, closest match I found is a Hitachi DA500 or 501. So this is a Hitachi deck. It's working great, and for $8, who's going to complain? So things to remember: just because a CD player is not reading a disc doesn't mean that A, the laser's burned out, or there's some kind of problem with capacitors. It's not always capacitors. It's usually a mechanical issue. CD players of this age, and by the way, there is a date code on the back. It says 1989. CD players of this age are going to get solidified greases and lubrication that need to be cleaned. In this case, we had a gear that was basically stuck that kept the motor worm gear that drives the sled from turning. So that's why our CDs weren't reading. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed that. We will be back to a turntable next week. But until then, like, subscribe, and I appreciate you watching. Thank you very much. Take care. Bye-bye.